Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, FF family. My name is Dylan. Today is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. This is episode 35, and we're going to talk about the end of year finances and the economy. My name is Dylan, and as always, I am co-hosting today with Nick and Bradley. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you today?
Going awesome.
Good. Well, I'm going to be taking these two lug nuts through some topics we got going on today, making sure they don't scream at each other during that time. But to get us started on here, through these hot debates we're about to have here, what's going on with your holiday season? So I don't know if by the time we'll have a new podcast, if we'll have it before or after Christmas.
It should be timeline. After. Yeah.
It should be after? Yeah. So, let's talk about your holiday plans. I think it's time. So, Nick, besides putting up a new tree, what do you got going on?
So we're going to probably go down and see some family, do the whole like Christmas spiel. It's kind of sobering for us because Allie is actually working Christmas morning. And this is going to be the first time that, she's kind of adulting during a holiday. So I'm going to sleep in on Christmas, I guess, and kind of chill, and then wake up at like the crack of noon maybe and open up some presents and whatnot.
Crack of noon.
Yeah, to quote my favorite Tenacious D.
Yeah,
come on.
The movie you know. Okay, great.
It is a classic.
Well, Bradley, what do you got going
on? We may or may not have a guest, and Carrie and I decided, I think, for our Christmas present to each other, probably going to go to a Colorado Avalanche game. And if you have ever been to a hockey game, they're pretty exciting. It's cold in there. It's like nonstop action. I'm a huge baseball fan, but I'm also a hockey fan, and it's just a totally different environment. So probably going to go to a Colorado Avs game, probably not on Christmas, but a gift for each other.
Cute. I think based on the day it lands and like the company giving you the day off, et cetera, I think I have like a 4-day off and that doesn't include the 2-day weekend. So I plan to take my daughter to a second movie she's ever been to in a theater. Don't know what that is yet. I think because she likes Christmas Vacation, I might take her to the Christmas Vacation showing in Springfield here.
Nice.
That sounds really fun.
At the Alamo.
What was the first movie?
We watched Casper.
Oh yeah,
that's adorable.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, she's watched both of them before, but she really likes Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. I'm like, you're not original, kid. Everyone loves Cousin Eddie. So, yeah, I think we're gonna watch that in theater. I think it'll be great, and that's fun. I can't wait to have anxiety the whole time when she wants to run around instead of sitting in her chair. So that'll be great.
Good luck.
Yep. She was okay, but anyway, starting off into today, I appreciate you all for going into your holiday plans, and we're going to get started right in here. So for today's topic, it's all about the economy in general. We're going to talk about things like stock market, inflation, this impending doom of a recession that we're all going to happen to have here like tomorrow. It's like in 12 hours, it's like recession is going to happen. The T word, tariffs, and what do we feel about 2026? What does that look like? So I think we're going to get started on here with Nick. So with 2025 reflection, what were the strengths of the market this year in general?
Yeah, so I mean, overall, the market really kicked some tail. So if you look at between what was it, April or maybe it was like March and June. It took that amount of time for the market to really rebound because we had that huge dip in around April and stuff. But we were back to basically break even by June. But even with that dip, the market is up. It was just over 16% for the S&P 500, and your average is going to run between like 8 and 10% a year. If you include dividends in there, it might be even closer to like 18% for the year. So like the overall market was really good. There were some sectors that kind of underperformed. Like there was some, I think, utility type sectors that actually did better than others, and so the market mix up has been shifting a little bit, and that's kind of looking into and researching for today's episode. I was kind of looking, and it seems like that's the common theme is like there was definitely shakeups in a lot of different areas. Overall, I think things were positive. But a lot of, some things saw increases, others saw decreases and stuff like that. And so I think overall, if you were, investing in like ETFs and stuff like that, it may have been a little bit of a rocky ride, but I
Hmm.
think you can reflect on
Yeah.
2025 and say, hey, I made a couple bucks. I was doing pretty dang well. There might be some people that, kind of struck out a little bit if they were investing in a particular, industry or something like that. I think communications didn't do super hot this year. I
Tech in
know,
general.
yeah, I mean, some tech did,
Well,
but
yeah,
there's,
like
yeah,
AI.
yeah, but there's, I think overall very solid. The market's definitely restructuring itself though, so it's not super clear going into 2026. Like, hey, what should I be investing in? I think the overall market's still a good choice. It'd be hard to identify certain sectors that you think are going to do really well, at least from my opinion. But
Yeah.
Well, no, go ahead, Bradley.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you look at the Nasdaq, it's at up 22% year to date. So Nasdaq is what normally more high tech stuff, more technology, Microsoft, Tesla, all that kind of stuff. And I think that kind of goes to show that technology overall had a really good year. If you look at the Dow Jones, which is a little more diverse, it was up 11.7%. So that one's a little more diverse than just the Nasdaq. So I don't know. Like you said, Nick, I would probably just do as many like ETFs or like, especially if you're investing for the long run, is like try to be diverse because like there was a really good year in tech, which I think brought up the overall market. And that's not going to happen every year. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have
sure.
another good year next year, but maybe next year will be slow for tech and better for another market. And that's why if you put more into overall ETFs, you're a little safer. I don't know.
It seems like VU's always just a really safe bet.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
really well, it really is.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do we have any spending data right now, like with the economy and spending, like consumers? How much are we spending right now? Is it good towards the end of the year overall? Because everyone's talking about inflation, everything's going horribly, we can't buy anything. How is the data showing when it comes to actual like purchasing power with the dollar and yada
Like
yada?
GDP, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
pull
and
up.
like if people are in general just spending more in general, do we know
Yeah,
that yet?
yeah.
Usually get that around the holidays, so
Let me pull that up. So we have our I think our latest quarter is Q2 because of the government shutdown. So Q1 spending was down, right? GDP was down, which is a negative thing, right? So consumer spending was normal, but investment spending was down. Essentially, we imported a bunch of stuff because companies were afraid of tariffs, which turned our GDP down.
yep.
Q2 flipped and it was way up, better than it's been in a while. But a lot of that was because we went back up with our spending. So overall, our spending is about on average, but we only have half the year, so we don't really know for the
Okay.
second half. And that's just GDP numbers.
Sure, because I was wondering, because, and maybe Bradley, you want to expand on this, is like with inflation in general, because we talked about this year, that was the big thing going into the Trump presidency. If you're on the left, you're saying that everything that he was doing is going to make
Right.
inflation worse. On the right, tariffs are
Yeah.
going to save the economy. Where's inflation like right now as of, December? What are we
Yeah.
looking at?
So we only have up to October numbers, so through September, but we're on pace for a 2.7 inflation rate for the year, which the goal from the Fed is 2%. So it's above, right?
Okay.
However, we're doing better. It's the best it's been since 2020, essentially. Now, 2020 was a little deflated because of COVID. It went down.
Yep.
But 2019 and 2018 were like really solid years. So I'm going to read off the last several years. We're on pace for, I think I said 2.7. I meant 2.8 for this year.
Oof.
2024 was 2.7. 2023 was 3.4. 2022 was 6.1. 2021 was 7. Remember, goal is 2. Things were really bad for the economy for a couple years. 2020 was 1.2. It was lower than goal because prices went down during COVID. In 2019, 2.4. 2018 was a perfect on the line 2%. So we have these numbers, and I think when it comes to inflation, people just don't understand that, like, inflation was really bad through 2021 to 2023, right? Now,
Yep.
anytime like something inches up a little bit, it feels like it's the end of the world. It's like if the cost of a gallon of milk went up to $6 for 3 years, it's like stuck at six, and you're like, this sucks. And then the next year it goes up to 6.25. People start making videos saying, look, it's up to 6.25. It's really bad. Well, it just went up incrementally. It was the when it went up to $6 is when it's bad. So this year overall, I would say inflation gets like a C plus for the economy. Not perfect. 2% is perfect. Not bad. It's okay. But overall, prices aren't that bad right now. They're actually relatively steady.
So Nick, then that means so with the stock market, what grade would you give it right now then?
I mean, if you look at the average as like 8 to 10%, I mean, heck, I'd give it an A plus. Like, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
200% improvement over what the average is. I think it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
I mean,
That's just how
complaints on
grades
it.
work, honestly.
that's
Yeah,
the thing about the economy of grading it in short terms, and it's there's two reasons we do this. One is because we have so much access to like quick information through social media, and two is politics, right? So
Yep.
if you're like overly involved in politics, even if you don't really focus that much, but you're like pro or anti someone, well, 6 months makes the difference to the end of the world, right? But it's not really. We need to look at the overall picture. Like the overall picture was we struggled in COVID, then we had to come out of it, and then we had to come back down. And that's where we are right now. And people look at it too politically, too much through the eyes of social media. People just telling them. But when you go back, you can look at these numbers. Like the information's easily, readily available, and you can figure out what's going on. So I think that's why it's like right now, the economy overall with inflation, I think inflation, I look at the stock market and that kind of pushes up inflation too, right? Like our assets are inflated a little bit. Like if we're normally at like 10% and we're at 16%, well, we're up 60%. Like that's a huge inflation number, but in a sense it's a good way cuz it's our wealth that we're holding. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, that seems like basic economics, honestly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to some. I mean, you're right. When you're in a bubble, whether you like it or not of what's going on, you're going to hyperfixate on one thing. And I think the
Mhm.
the gallon of milk was the good analogy for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, so we talked about like the stock market being okay, well, great, and then the inflation being okay. How do you feel about jobs right now, Nick? What do you think like the job market looks like now, and then going into 26? I mean, it's been a rough year, especially in tech for jobs. So what do we look like going forward?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think similar analogy to the milk jug is we had a lower unemployment rate at the beginning of the year, around 4%, and it's gone up to 4.4%. So I think we're averaging what, like 4.2 or something. I think the numbers
You're
should
right. Yeah.
solidify here soon. But so it has gone up throughout the year, but we just had really low unemployment in the beginning of the year. And when you look at like the different sectors, I think and I don't know, somebody might have to fact check me on this one, but I saw a figure about government layoffs were over 1 million employees that were laid off in 2025,
Yeah.
which that like it was one of the biggest areas that saw unemployment. And you see lots of tech layoffs and stuff like that, but the overall, like, I think they're just transitioning, and it's kind of like what I was talking about with the stock market is it's not that like everything's doing bad. It's just allocating really. And so I think jobs are just being reallocated to different places. I think like healthcare saw some pretty healthy rises,
Yeah.
but there were some tech type industries that decreased. But even in the government one, so we saw a ton of layoffs there. There was an increase in education. And so like it's just been kind of cycling around. Overall, yes, did unemployment go up from the beginning of the year? Yeah. But it feels healthy. It feels like it's just evolving as the markets change. Like we're adopting AI into different industries, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the tech layoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what we're noticing is it feels like a lot more because we get the headlines of like, 100,000 people got laid off and stuff like
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
we're still creating new jobs.
Yeah.
And so I think, that people don't headline of like, hey, we added 100,000 jobs when
Yeah.
we had these layoffs too. And so I think the real question is like, is the amount of dollars going into people's pockets changing? And that, I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, I think job market overall relatively healthy. I think a lot of people compare the job market to like 22 when it was, like people were fighting for employees, and I think we're definitely past that. I think it's probably
Right.
more of an employer type job market right now, but it feels relatively healthy based off the data that's
I
available. So
think
just kind of changing of the guards, I think.
one thing that could give us perspective, as we've worked in a major company that has contracted and expanded and contracted, and specifically Dylan and I have been part of that contraction, is that's how like economies in the labor market work. And so every time there's a contraction, it sucks so bad, you know? Like it feels so bad to see, I don't know, 10,000 or 5,000 people laid off. Like that's 5,000 Christmases that are going to be tough this year, you know? But that's what happens. And you guys want a little financial history lesson? I'm going to give it to you anyways.
Absolutely.
I
So,
was like, did we have a choice?
okay, so 1930s, if you guys remember what happened in the 1930s, we had a little bit of a crash in the economy in the United States. But in Europe, we had a really strong economy that was kind of teetering. But do you know why it was strong? Either of you?
In Europe,
Well, a
no,
lot
no
of things
idea.
happened in 1930s in Europe, so you got to be kind of Is it that?
Yes. So here's the thing that happened.
Is it war?
It
War caused it to pop off?
kind of war,
Okay.
fascism, Nazism. The economy boomed under fascism, but in a weird way. So hear me out. Okay, so fascism is essentially like over government control, right? And if you break it down, it's like government controlling the means of production. That's kind of like economic fascism. So what, like if you look at like Italy, you had fascism growing, you had the fascist party, and government jobs in Italy, fascist Italy, Nazi Germany were expanding. Like the idea is like get people to like love the government, bring them in government jobs, get them to rely on government jobs. And that's like kind of like a like you stretch the economy but put it on the back of the government to employ people, and it works for 5 to 10 to 15 years. Now we know for a fact that fascism doesn't work in the long run, right? Like Mussolini, Italy, Germany, Hitler, that doesn't work. Communism, it just mathematically, factually, economically, it doesn't work. It eventually breaks. But when you put people in a government workforce, you're essentially saying, rely on me, the government, for means of production. When something happens like Doge in the United States, it feels like cruel and weird and uncomfortable, but it's actually a good balance because you bring people back to the market, the private market where they can spend more money, kind of like what you were saying, Dylan, with the GDP. So that's a little history lesson for you from the 1930s and 1940s when the US was struggling. European countries were kind of going through war and starting fascism and socialism in Germany, and it works for a little bit. It really does until things get out of hand and you start murdering a lot
So
of
so
people.
you're saying bring back fascism for just a little bit, and we'll get.
It works for a couple days, and
Oh,
then
okay,
it all falls apart. So
gotcha.
that's your economic history lesson. You can learn a lot by
So
economic
we just
history.
need fascism, but just don't let one person run it. That's what it is. Not centralize the power into one person. What
Hmm.
about the murder part? Do we continue that? I'm confused. Where does this fall apart?
Yeah, how does that impact the market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad because there's less people to participate in the
Oh,
market.
Anyways,
Yeah.
my point overall is if you were to just think economics, like put politics aside, more people in the private sector, take them out of the government sector, the public sector, put them in the private sector, economically, financially is good and healthy in the long run for a government, for a country, but there is some pain because you have to move those people over. Just like you're saying, Nick, is like government jobs, it looks bad on unemployment data, but it is
sure.
actually good for the economy. Like, ignore politics, look at it from an economic standpoint, and you can see that's a good thing.
Well, are those people coming back into the workforce though? Like, obviously they'll need a job eventually, right? But are they finding employment post getting laid off in a
Well,
time to where they, don't become,
yeah.
not to sound cruel here, but like a burden on the
No,
economy, you know
yeah,
what I
that's a
mean?
good point. Like, let's say they were to go into the social welfare program, all of
Right.
that, that would be a negative. So the answer is we don't know because our last data was from September.
Oh, right, because
Yeah.
something happened in October where we
Because
don't
they
know anything anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
because they laid off all the people that run those numbers.
That sounds like fascism to me. You can't be wrong. You know what I mean? Come on.
Oh,
All right. All right, cool. Well, I would love to know that. I think it's just interesting because then we can, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure with Doge, like how that really affected too much either direction of being positive or not. You know what I mean? But it was a government like correction that you said we've had in the past, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like the
you
19,
know what I hate
was
about
it the
that is like,
1930s
It
was
was
when we had that?
oh yeah, it
1910s.
was.
Oh, 1910s. Okay, yeah.
Dude, that was such a good idea, but it feels like such a publicity stunt looking back now. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
the idea of like skimping on government spending like makes sense, but then they just like got rid of it, it seems
well,
like.
They did get rid of it.
part of the reason is that you had the person running it, everyone started firebombing this guy's company. Like, like,
Yeah, you don't have Elon Musk go and run something like Doge. Like if you want it to be long term.
right. I mean, first of all, there were governmental limits, and he got out on the like it was like 120 days. He got out. Like people who called that fascist were just ignorant, right? Or they look at the wrong social media that like people type in Reddit or whatever. They were just dumb. So like, but people start firebombing some guy's car and start keying everyone who has a Tesla. Well, the process isn't going to work right?
Right.
Is that where the fascism comes in? Is the fire? Sorry.
Exactly.
I don't know why. I mean, I was he really? I thought unironically, I thought the Tesla thing was happening before he did Doge. Was that
No,
really the height of it? Was that it?
So there was like three events. There first he bought Twitter, and he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like pro free speech. Then he endorsed Trump, right? That one
Yep.
was really bad for him. And then the big one was Doge. Like, you had all these government officials coming out saying like he's a fascist. Well, fascists don't cut the budget. Like, that's never how it's worked. Socialism, fascism, dictators don't cut the budget. They do the opposite. It's stupid.
Fair.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's crazy. I mean,
History's
regardless of how you
important,
believe,
people.
I think it'd be kind of dumb to like for anybody, whether you feel like Elon or not. I don't think you want to have him getting firebombed, right? I think that's a universal hot
Well,
take that we shouldn't have
it's
to
not
make.
even just him. It's like people who work at Tesla.
Oh
Like,
yeah, and people that had Teslas
yeah,
too, like
like
they got their cars destroyed. Yeah, that's
here's one
crazy.
thing that like reading about this was like people started giving Tesla Uber drivers 0 stars because they owned a Tesla and were driving around, like for Uber or whatever, Lyft. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is a person's job, just because your politics and, people on TikTok or Reddit tell you to believe one thing, you're like hurting someone's livelihood. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a difference of
Mhm.
having an opinion than like acting on a firebomb. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, You can pretend to be a fascist. You don't go full Hitler on it, you know? Anyway, so
That's such a great way to look at things, Dylan. Just pretend
I
it,
know.
don't act on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
jeez, come
that's
on.
why I'm the host. Pay attention. So now, well, to get back on track here. So, Bradley, I know you love talking about fascism, but I'm going to do your other favorite topic, which is tariffs. And I want to know, do we have, I know since September, probably the last data we've had, which is the common theme here, but do we have any actual data when it comes to tariffs, their impact on the economy? Are we benefiting from them? Have we not? I know personally I've read headlines where we brought in billions of dollars
Yeah.
into the economy from tariffs, but I don't know. I haven't looked at actual data to see so. So is that true? Is it not? Where are we at?
So we actually do have data on this because this isn't like just market data or job data that we rely on. Like it's live data that you can access with our budget. So first of all, I actually put something in chat which I just found, which is awesome, which is like a live update of our tariffs. And essentially, there's a baseline of a 10% reciprocal tariff to anyone that's tariffing the United States, right? So if you have a tariff on me, I have a like equivalent 10% reciprocal tariff, which
Oh, okay.
thumbs up, I guess, is what this is telling me. So essentially, like I'll admit, like at the beginning of the year, like I was like tariffs are taxes, taxes need to be lower. Now, a reciprocal tariff, I think I could get behind because the goal is that, like, Dylan, if you're charging me extra money, I'm going to charge you extra money. At one point, we're going to decide, like, at what, well, like, let's just chill out a little bit and bring it both down. Like, that's the best
Yeah.
case scenario, right? Is that going to happen? Who knows? I think we've learned in, like, the 21st century that, like, there is a baseline of tariffs with the way the economic world has grown that like you need to keep some things in house, which the US is kind of late to it. So there's 10% tariffs across the board for anyone who has us. There's also like if you look at this list, there's quote threatened tariffs, which is
Yeah, I
just
saw that just now.
which
Yeah.
is just Trump like tweeting or whatever, or like like
Is that as simple as what it is? Okay.
usually,
Got
yeah.
it.
Like usually it's like a presidential tweet that he's threatening someone a tariff. Sometimes he'll give a number, sometimes he doesn't for whatever reason. Somewhere in here there's like movie tariffs. It's like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it
I
says
don't understand how that one works. Like, is it like it's you can only import things as a tariff
there it is.
tax, right?
So all foreign produced movies, it says President Trump authorized Commerce and the USTR to initiate an investigation into to implement these tariffs on May
Okay.
4th, 100%. I don't know how that would work um because it's not a
I
physical product. Uh so I don't
Does
know.
he think we still carry film around and put them
we
into the theaters?
we yeah that we like or the USB drives, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I don't know how
Tax
that
the
would work.
USBs.
So there's a bunch of threatened tariffs. There's a bunch of delayed tariffs, but most of the tariffs you can see are reciprocal, and then there's some very specific tariffs on aluminum or steel or automobiles. Let's see what else. There was like wood, oil, gas. Some of those are threatened. Some of them are in already, and it's just interesting to see. Like, I think Scott Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, said like, for the first time in a while, we're actually producing like high end products in the United States, which we haven't done in a while. Which is a good thing, but I mean, and it just depends on how it works out. So, I don't know. What do you think, Nick, about all the tariffs?
Yeah, it's interesting because we've got the highest tariffs that we've had in over 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
and there's data that suggests that the tariffs have not only already kind of slowed GDP growth, but
Yeah.
they're anticipating a slower growth going forward than if we didn't have the tariffs. So I think like I don't know. Maybe it's like fascism. Like in theory, maybe it works out, but in reality, it
Yeah,
doesn't. I don't know. Like it seems like I like the idea, but I think our market's maybe a little bit too complex for it to be that simple. Because if we're, prices have gone up. I think I saw something that said like clothing was up 17% for, U.S. Americans. And it's not like a huge impact. It's
right.
like a 0.5% is what some of the models are suggesting as far as the or slowed down growth of the GDP compared if we didn't. So I don't know. Like it feels like there was just a whole lot of drama for something that's just going to slightly hurt our overall economy and growth. So it's like, was it worth it? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
So
so
I
hard.
usually
Sorry, go on, Dylan.
Gohan. All right, I
Go
will.
on, Dylan.
Thanks, Goku. So I normally when I do these, it's usually like I just throw out like what random people are saying online. Like here's the headline
Yeah,
BS that you hear. Personally, I just feel like I like anything that can do a change where you can just try it out. You know, I
yeah,
don't know. I'm with you, Nick. I don't know like where this actually lands. We'll find out probably in a year, like when it started. What was keep forgetting what he called it. Was it Liberation Day?
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So I'm assuming we'll have some sort of data from that time frame of what this actually brings in, if it hurt, what it did. Um, and like the goal is like to make companies incentivize companies to be making stuff here. Because
yeah,
if you just do it here, there's no tariff.
yeah.
That means more jobs, more
Right.
production, yada yada. So I don't know. I mean, personally, the headlines still say that we're losing and having to spend more, and it's causing inflation to be high because of,
Yeah.
tariffs and stuff. So like the people sentiment, I don't think has really changed any at all. But it hasn't gotten better, it hasn't gotten worse. It's just like this kind of sucks. It's kind of the vibe.
It
And
it
I would just like to see where this is
that's
going.
the thing is like the data that we have, like the inflation data, we went over it already. Like it's at 2.8%, up
Yeah.
0.1% from last year, down 5% from 2, 3 years ago. Like, so who knows, right? And, like t shirts, you said, Nick, are up. Like, cheap bull crap that we buy from like Walmart and Amazon and Target, all that stuff, yeah, it's probably going to be a little more expensive because you can buy tiny bottles for a nickel from China. And like, I know this because, like,
I was like, you know that, right?
yeah, like the amount of problems that I had of buying stupid little bottles for our oil from China, and they cost 10 cents or 8 cents in China, and they cost 40 cents in the US. And I'm like, well, if I get it from China, they suck ass. And I have to wait. Literally, they put them on a boat. I have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get them. And then they're wrong. And then, like, they suck and the product sucks. So, yeah, like cheap crap t-shirts and like stuff made everywhere, it's going to go up. But the difference is, this is what I wonder. So like if you take like economic theory and you look at production, you'll see like an increase of prices. Like look at a new product like the Todd Evo pods. Have you guys heard of that? The Todd Evo thing, or
Mm.
Tide.
You're saying Tide?
Tide.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay,
Tide
yes.
Evo. They're like these little woven detergent pods, and they're super expensive right now, but they've already started coming down. They're like new technology, and eventually they'll come down in price because they have to, right? Because no one will buy them, and they're new technology, so they had to pay for the research. So my question is, once we're more efficient in the United States at making t-shirt and the bull crap we would get from China, are the prices then going to go down? And that's the thing with like tariffs, is like we won't know that for like 10 years, We're not going to know that stuff.
well, I think the problem is like the prices don't go down because consumers will keep paying that price for them. You know what I mean? Like everything went up when we had all of the like supply chain issues and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They never went back down because people just continue to pay for it, and companies were like, "Hey, if they'll keep paying for it, we'll keep." And like we got companies making record profits and stuff because it's what will the economy pay for a certain good? Well, once we're conditioned that this thing costs that much, like I think we just keep paying it. I don't know that things go down. I mean, what's gone down ever? Like TVs, maybe.
Yeah,
But
technology has gone down.
Electronics, I was going to say, have
Yeah.
gone down.
Like okay,
but not
yeah,
cell phones, right? Like because we'll keep paying $1,800 nowadays for
Well,
cell phones,
well,
right?
those are like the higher end ones. On average, the ones you can get like the Hawaii whatever fives, you know what I'm saying?
Huawei.
Like Huawei,
Yeah.
yeah. So like those haven't really changed any.
Yeah.
Like
Well, because
the
people won't pay anymore for those, but like even like
right.
iPhones keep pushing the envelope because people will pay more money for those things, and I think are iPhones more expensive to make now than they were 2 years ago? Like,
Yeah. Oh
Well,
no.
I
yeah.
mean, at
They're
that
more
point in time,
expensive.
that point in time, I know the trigger warning for you too, but the only way I sincerely feel like this because they don't have any intervention that's happening right now or a way to stop them because they're not incentivized to do that, right? So it's either people stop buying their crap or the government steps in and says, "Hey, this has happened already. You don't have supply chain issues. You put a cap on something." I don't. Other than that, like that's capitalism, right? Like
Yeah,
they set their tone and that's it.
No.
100%.
No. That's not it.
What? No, that's how it works. You can
that
set your price on what you want.
that's not it. There's more to like Nick, you're right in saying that if we increase our demand or keep our demand where it is, then prices will stay equal. It's equilibrium. But like you said, Dylan, like yeah, oh everyone buys iPhones. But it's
Yeah.
not like Apple's not like an evil corporation because everyone wants to buy an iPhone.
I
Also,
didn't
the
say they were.
prices like people think like iPhones cost like a nickel to make. They cost
No,
yeah,
they
they
do
cost
not.
like $300 to $500 to make an
Yep.
iPhone, you know? Like they're very expensive things. So those costs have gone up. And you're right, Nick, things like TVs, those costs have gone dramatically down. So depending on the technology and the demand, the prices will go down. Now, inflation overall, like the worth of a dollar, like yeah, it will go down, but and then in the end we'll pay more. But it's not like that where we're just like some mindless drones conditioned to pay whatever we're gonna pay. Prices do
I,
fluctuate and find equilibrium.
I
Like
But
feel like it's more the latter, though. I think we are kind
yeah,
of mindless drones just paying what we're gonna
Bradley,
in most
people that have
things.
we just hear all the time company record profit, record profit. If it wasn't true, either they're lying, which is illegal to shareholder conversation like those calls, or people are mindlessly buying stuff. But I'm confused on what you said was wrong because it sounded like you agreed with everything we just said. I'm going to be
no,
honest.
no, no. I'm
Like
saying
all I'm saying, well, here, let me get my point. So all I'm saying is they have no incentive. Sorry, I'm mixing up my words.
yeah.
They have no there's no incentive for them to lower pricing. When supply chain issue change, prices haven't really reduced. Yes, there's always going to be some fluctuation, but they don't have to. And in this market we have, it's just you if I don't need to lower my price, why would I? I'm having record profits at my company. I'm not going to lower things until either competition steps in, that's an alternative. I didn't say
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
competition come in or it's government intervention. Otherwise, there's not really like really a change. That's all I'm saying. Otherwise, why would I change?
Or demand decreases or a certain product becomes less important, right? Or the technology changes where if let's say I could increase the technology where I could decrease my prices by 20% but
Yep.
increase the amount sold by 100%. But unless I decrease my prices, the sales won't go up. Well, that it, like we can have this like mindless thought of like evil corporate greed, or we can think like, hey, if I drop 20%, I make 100 more percent in sales. That those things do happen. You know, it's not like everyone just always pays more for everything, always, no matter what. Like sometimes, yes, like the prices of houses go up. You know, the prices of cars go up, but eventually they're kind of stable and they keep up with inflation. Some markets go up higher than others, but it's not just mindless drones paying for things. You know, like depending on your demand, like cell phones like are slowing down. Sales are slowing down, but prices have gone up, so they've made a lot of profits. And even like with Apple, for example, they don't just want to keep increasing their prices because sales have gone down. Where have they made their profits? From like subscription services and
Subscriptions,
accessories.
software.
Yeah, software, accessories, billions, where they made all their money 10 to 15 years ago from iPhones. And then they started getting expensive. People bought less iPhones. So they had to find the money elsewhere. And that's where that process kind of equals out with equilibrium. Nick, what do you think? You think I'm still wrong?
I want to
No, I
say something real quick.
go
Where
for it.
Nick and I didn't say anything about a corporation being evil, just to be very clear. It's just what you can do in a capitalistic society. It's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just what you're able to do. You set prices based
Right.
on demand. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're
I
evil.
I think that your concepts are 100% in line. I just think the reality of it is you see more often that the prices do stay high versus getting a break on like it seems very selective the things that actually go down.
Right.
It seems like once something goes up, if the supply continues to or the demand continues to be there, they generally will keep that. And I also think like there's a lot more people going to like bigger businesses and stuff like that, bigger companies. I think you even talked about like, hey, if we took the top 10% of the S&P 500, how much different would those profits like those stocks raise much higher? And so I think the companies that have kind of not a monopoly, right? But there's a few
Right, right.
duopolies
Yeah.
and things like that. Like I think they are able to maybe keep prices up so much because people tend to rely on their things. You know what I mean? Think about like Starbucks. Like a lot of people go and buy Starbucks. Are they really incentivized to try to lower their prices, or are people content paying $5 to $10 a drink? Well, if they are, they'll continue to keep those prices up, even if the cost of beans go down. If they don't need to, I think they're forced into it if there's competition and stuff like
Right.
that. And so,
Well, tariffs now with tariff
The
fiends.
cost of
But
beans.
oh
gentlemen,
yes,
we have to cut this off because we want to make sure we're good on time here.
Dang it.
So no tariff on beans.
Okay, real quick.
So,
Real quick.
oh my god,
Panera.
Oh,
Panera.
boy.
Do you guys have you ever ate at Panera recently?
of course,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Panera
bagels.
sucks now. It's super expensive and the food sizes are smaller. And like every once in a while, Carrie and I will be like, does Panera know that we know that their food is more expensive? It sucks and they have smaller portions. Well, like for a year, I haven't eaten at Panera just because it's like like all those things I said. And I like looked it up, and the CEO of Panera, their sales dropped like 8% over the last couple years, and the CEO is starting this new program that's like Panera Revive or something to make their
Panera Plus.
yeah, it's something like that, like a huge plan. And I'm like, you're an idiot. No one, like, people aren't buying your food as much because it's more expensive and it's less portions and their sales are going down. So it's just like an example, one specific company. It just was at the top of my mind.
Oh, I thought you just wanted to bash on Panera.
Yeah, I
before
know.
you
Also,
I'm
left.
still lost for a
Also,
second.
we know Panera. We know.
We
Panera
know.
watches this. We know they watch this. So.
Yeah. We're in their minds and their shareholder meetings.
Right.
So I was looking at what we were going to go over today, and I wanted to call out something that Nick had brought up way back in April with the Great Recession of 2025, the stock market crash that we never come back through. Nick was right. So you had predicted that we would look back on this and we would come out ahead where we're saying don't sell, don't panic, you're going to be fine throughout. And I think all three of us actually bought into the market a little bit more during that time. Is that right? If I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah.
Yep. And we could just got a discount on stocks. That's really all it was. And during that time, I can safely say my favorite outlook, or like, viewing back on 2025, that we were right on that. And I'm proud that we can be the calm under the storm of
Yeah.
social media freak out of the economy.
I agree.
I like it.
Um, so we need to wrap up for today, gentlemen. So what's your final thoughts? That was mine for the day. Bradley, what do you got? What's your outlook in 26?
I think my outlook is like it'll probably end up being fine, especially in the United States because we're very resilient, and just like don't worry about who's in charge of a company or who's the president. Like do your own thing and take care of your own finances. And that's both for good and bad. Like some people think if the person they like is in charge, things will go better. And vice versa. If the person they don't like is in charge, things will go bad. So just like take care of your own finances, and next year will probably end up being about the same as this year, maybe a little worse, maybe a little better, depending on what goes on in the world, because the U.S. is resilient.
Perfect. Nick?
Yeah. I'd say kind of back to Dylan's point. We were right, but you know what? We didn't call the bottom of that drop. We didn't call how long it was going to take to rebound. We didn't call that it would take 3 months to come back from it. But we were confident that the stock market's going to continue to go up over time. And I just think people got to remember that when things get crazy, sometimes a big drop is just a buying opportunity. So if you stay invested long term, you're going to come out. It's time in the market, not timing the market. I truly believe that. So just stay smart, don't get greedy, and things will work out.
2026.
Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, with that being said, I appreciate you all with the great conversations. As always, I'm looking forward to 2026. We'll see you all after the holidays, shortly after. As always, my name is Dylan. I'm here with Nick and Bradley. This is FF. Oh, I was going to say FF Media. Oh, man. Shout out to our other channel. By the way, sorry for all video game movie reviews as well. But Freedom Finances, we're here for you all. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. We'd love to hear from you and help you out where we can. Have a great day.
Adios.
Peace.